Welcome back to Lift You Up, Inspiring Health Stories. I'm your host, Tamika Bickham. I'm the founder and chief storyteller of TB Media Group, but for the purpose of this podcast, I am your health and happiness matchmaker. Now, before I introduce you to today's guest, you know what I'm going to ask you to do. Go on over to YouTube, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to stay connected with you. Now, today we are talking about a food app. We're all familiar with the big ones, right? The Postmates and the Uber Eats. But what about one where food is being offered 50% off and you're also doing good for the environment? Today you're going to hear from the CEO and co-founder of LOVVETT. Our physical, mental, and emotional health is not just a want. It is a need for happy lives and prosperous businesses. Lift You Up is the podcast where we share inspiring health stories from business owners who are fulfilling their purpose to live their healthiest lives and helping you do the same. From former TV reporter to marketing entrepreneur and content creator, I care about sharing stories that matter and stories that connect us. I'm your host, Tamika Bickham, your health and wellness matchmaker. Well, today I'm so excited to meet for the first time virtually and get to know better and also introduce all of you to Rafael Garrido, who is the CEO and co-founder of LOVVETT. Hi, Rafael.
Hi, Tanika. How are you doing? Nice meeting you.
Well, I want to learn more about LOVVETT first before we go more into your personal story, which I know is going to be an important part of our conversation today as well. So tell us, what is LOVVETT?
So LOVVETT is an app. It's a food app that you can download from anywhere, Apple Store, Google Play. And what it basically enables, as of today, and I say this because it's evolving, but it enables restaurants and grocery stores, bakeries, cake shops, and the likes to monetize their excess food by selling it to customers that are willing to buy it at a discount. So think of a bakery. By the end of the day, whatever bread they have done for the day or they have made for the day and they have not been able to sell it, they can post it on the LOVVETT app and at a discounted price, heavily discounted price, so that consumers can find it and buy it. So it serves several purposes. On one hand, the merchant is actually not producing any waste. On the other hand, he's cashing on the labor and ingredient that they have put into it, and they're getting a new customer. And the customers are helping the merchant do the right thing while saving some money.
Right, and the customer gets, is able to try their food for a heavily discounted price. Is there a range at which the food is discounted?
It goes anywhere in between 40 to maybe 50, 60% of the price of the original price.
Wow, okay.
And it depends very much on the type of food. Like bakers, for example, they have better margins on the bread they sell than a sushi restaurant, for example, where the food cost is very expensive.
Right. I read a statistic somewhere that said 30 to 40% of all food produced in the U.S. is wasted.
Yeah.
Is that insane. One of the, I mean, I saw that and I'm like, wow, we could do a lot of good with feeding people with that wasted food. I guess, is that why you started the business? What was really your reasoning behind wanting to do this? Is it to solve the food waste problem?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I'm original from Europe, from Spain, as you can probably see from my accent. And I was raised in a very, very thrift family where actually nothing was spare or thrown to waste, right? So when I first came to the USA, kind of like 10 years ago, I was pretty shocked with the amount of waste that I saw being produced, especially in the restaurants. And when you dig a little bit into it, it seems like for them it's one more cost of doing business, so kind of like there is no option for them to not to waste, because unless you are a big store like a Whole Foods or something like that, it's not easy to donate that food. So we were looking at ways to tackle this problem, and I have a background in IT consulting, and I decided it was a good problem to tackle.
Quick question. When you said if you're not like a Whole Foods, it's not easy to donate that food. Why is it not easy to donate?
Yeah, because you need some logistics in place to send food from wherever it's being wasted to a food bank or a charity or somewhere else. And, to put the logistic together, you probably need like a big truck or something like that. And then the food banks are also kind of like selective in what they receive. So if you are more predictable or have a bigger volume, it's easier to do it than if you are a small restaurant where you don't know if you're going to have waste today or not. And also something that many people probably don't know is that there is actually way more food wasted than food we need.
What we need, what does that mean?
I mean, what we need, I mean, to feed everybody who needs, both, people who pay for the food or insecure families in the sense of that there is, like a stat that like around 10% of the population in the USA is food insecure, meaning that they don't know if they're going to be able to put food on the table or not. If with the food that is left over, we were able to feed all those people, we would still have excess food.
More food.
That's the scale of the problem.
Wow. So I want to understand this. So when you say that at the end of the day, restaurants have food that is wasted, why does that happen? Like you use the example of a bakery. They may have, not sold all of the bread that they baked that day, and they have to toss that, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So explain like how restaurants end up wasting food.
Yeah, it's a combination of several factors, but I think one of them is kind of like cultural in the sense that we want to be able, as a restaurant or food business owner, we try to offer as much breadth of choice as possible to everybody coming through your door. So, early in the morning, it's easy to offer them all you have, but if you intend to do that, in the last couple of hours of that your business is open, very likely you are going to find or end up, having excess food because not everything that you had to sell is going to be bought, right? But still, we want to have every customer that comes through the door, we want to have them happy buying something and finding what they want to buy, right? And that translates into having more than actually is needed. But you really never know how much you're going to be needing because it depends on the demand. There is no way for restaurants or bakeries or any food business to accurately forecast the demand that they are going to have any given day.
Okay, so they are preparing and cooking food that maybe is not, for whatever reason, being sold at the rate that you expected it that day. And now that food is going to be wasted, or this is where I'm guessing LOVVETT comes in.
Uh-huh. Yeah, LOVVETT. Yeah, you can think of it as like fashion outlets where like the stuff that retail stores have not been able to sell. Instead of keeping them in display and going out of fashion, they send it to the outlet. So in a way, we are similar to that, with the difference that this is a perishable product, and we need to make sure that we sell it while it is still edible, perfectly fresh and fine, right? So that's the reason that the minute it's posted, people get notifications as to what's available for pickup, and they can only consume it that day and pick it up during a time frame that we specify. After that, if it has not been sold, it will eventually be wasted. But with our help, we contribute to reducing that waste.
Okay. So there's a day and time in which is specified for that particular food to be picked up at a discounted rate off of your app. Wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do want to get into more of the details of that, but I want to understand how you came up with this and why. I know you briefly mentioned your background, but if you could go into that a little bit more and why you decided to start this app.
I used to work as a managing partner in an IT consulting company. I have been, traveling around the globe in different assignments and so on and so forth. And I found myself in a situation where I could actually decide if I wanted to continue working with the company, but it meant traveling. It was going to be a little bit more of the same, or I did something else. And I was at a stage in my life where I really was looking for something probably different. Something with more purpose, with more meaning. I have always been very entrepreneurial person, even when working in corporate America, so to speak. I was kind of like what is called an intrapreneur, like people who are launching new initiatives inside the companies and the likes. And
I've never heard that term before.
Yeah, entrepreneur is something like, it's kind of like creating an enterprise inside an established business or a new venture inside the business. I have always been taking on challenges that were a little bit out of the norm, so to speak, right? Like, for example, helping my previous company to go global in South America and stuff like that. My family background is that both my parents, they are small business owners. They always work together, and that's the family I was brought up into. And I really felt that need to become an entrepreneur myself. While discussing with my wife, which is my co-founder, and she's in charge of marketing, we were really wanting to do something that involved technology, kind of like to leverage my background and my expertise, but something meaningful, something that had a purpose in mind, where we would be feeling that we were making a difference, because we told ourselves, it's going to be a few years of our life invested in this, and we want to be able to make something that we feel proud of.
Mm-hmm. And when it's hard in those first few years, right? Like, why do we keep waking up and doing this each and every day, right? When things get hard, it's like that meaning and that purpose that keeps you going.
Yeah, absolutely. It really help you get through those moments, which any entrepreneur, I'm sure, knows very well. Absolutely. The first year are probably the hardest. But also the most interesting ones, I guess, because you really see the impact of what you are doing, and you really feel that in your environment you really can make a difference. Whatever you do, you see the impact of that very soon, and whatever you don't do, you see the impact of that very soon as well. So it's very fulfilling in a way.
Absolutely. I love working with purpose-driven businesses. Obviously, they naturally lend themselves to the type of storytelling work that we do. But I do believe that everybody has a story to tell. So why this particular purpose when it comes to food and minimizing and cutting down on the amount of waste that is produced through this app?
Yeah, I would say, both of us, my wife and myself, we are foodies. We really love food. We are very much in love as well with the environment. We try to live a life as environmentally conscious as possible. And this was kind of like a natural fit, in the sense that it contributed to both ends, and at the same time, it leveraged technology, which is something that because if you want to solve the problem at the scale, you really need the technology. And this is something that I was feeling that I was really going to enjoy. And there is really a pain point to be addressed, as you were mentioning at the beginning of the podcast. The stats are pretty horrible, right? So we found that this is a problem, and we can come out with a solution. That's kind of like the inception of a company, right?
Was there a point that you can pinpoint that you remember learning about the amount of waste? Like, at what point did you realize, wow, like there's a lot of waste happening here?
Yeah, actually, I kind of felt that there was something that was not totally right, because as I told you, we were very much shocked with the amount of waste that we saw, making you feel as if the food is totally expendable or something like that. And when I came across that statistic, probably a couple of years ago, or 3 maybe, I was quite shocked. I was like, 30-40%, and then there is a 10% of the population that is food insecure. It makes absolutely no sense. And then you start digging deeper and you see the impact that it also has on the environment, because the food that is wasted, it ends up in landfills, and the type of gases that they produce, they are the bad ones, the ones that really have an impact in climate change. So, all around it didn't make any sense. And we thought that probably we were not going to be the only one tackling this problem. In order to really fix it, we need many more people aware of the problem to begin with, and many more people working on that problem. But we thought that we could really move the needle on the right direction.
So tell me, how has it been going so far? When did you start the business?
Yeah, we started in the midst of the pandemic. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, I remember we were planning to get started with 30 restaurants, and they were on board with the idea. But by the time we launched, only 15 of them were still in business. It was pretty tough. And at the time we really didn't have a baseline to compare against, because we hadn't been in business before the pandemic, so we didn't know if it was gonna work or not, and everything was kind of like a question mark, especially in this environment, right? But we were blessed with a lot of media attention. We were featuring in plenty of media outlets, both in TV, press, and I think that public has embraced the idea very well. One thing that is actually in our mission is to make effortless the possibility to do good. We want to give tools to people so that they can do good without putting much effort into it. It shouldn't be that difficult to do good, right? It should be the kind of like the natural option. So I think because of that, people have embraced the idea fairly well. They feel like, hey, I'm buying as I would be buying from anywhere else. I'm getting it cheaper, and at the same time, I feel that I'm doing something positive and good for the environment. So I think we can't complain really. Looking at the track record and the host of new features that we are releasing very soon, I think it's we really feel blessed about it.
Wonderful. And so are you just currently in Miami? Where is the app? Who can access it? Who uses it right now?
Yeah, we are in a few cities in Miami-Dade. We got started in Miami Beach, have also a good footprint in Brick Hill, downtown area, Wynwood, Little River, a little bit in Miami North, even though, North Miami, even though not much. We're also in Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, Pancrest, Dadeland, Kendall, Doral, and a little bit in Hialeah. And yeah, we are this type of business, which are called marketplace, digital marketplace. The idea is to make them work in a small area and not to lose too much focus. And when it's working, then you scale it, right? So it's kind of like they used to say, you nail it and then scale it, because in that little area, you can have very meaningful learnings to know, what works, what doesn't work. So you don't want to replicate your mistake. What you want is to learn, fine tune the product, iron out any kink that you might have, make sure that you have a good grasp of both of your customers, the food businesses as well as the consumers. And when you feel you are in that point, you then scale it. The platform that you're going to be using to replicate the model in your cities is going to be the same. And we just need to, replicate the efforts in sales and marketing.
Wonderful. So how many users do you have using the app right now?
All the growth of the application has been purely organic, and we have around 5,000 people that already downloaded the app. Not all of them are using, because some of them happen to download it and they live in Palm Beach, and then they write you an email, hey, when are you coming to Palm Beach? But a good number of them is actually using it day in and day out. And we have around 200 partners in the platform. We're getting to 200 very soon.
And that's restaurants? Or
that's restaurants. Yeah, okay. Restaurants, bakeries, small food markets, cake shops, grocery stores, bars.
And then how does the app make money? right? Because one of
Yes.
the things that I noticed on your website that, you know, a lot of these restaurants as well, like cannot, are small or mom and pop restaurants that
Uh-huh.
necessarily can't like absorb the high fees that like the Uber Eats or the Postmates charge these restaurants. So
Uh-huh.
how is
Yeah.
Love It a little bit different, and how do you all make money?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, because to be a business, you need to be making some type of money. Yeah. No, the business model supports itself by taking a small fee out of every sale that is made. So if there is no sale, there is no cost for the merchant to be on the platform. There is no setup cost and there is no monthly fee. We just charge a small fee out of every transaction, which is quite frankly the smallest that you can find in the market. Is uh, actually very very far away from the 30s and 20s that you hear in other marketplaces, which quite frankly many people cannot really afford. Because they don't enjoy these type of margins in the food business. Something that people don't normally know is that running a restaurant is one of the hardest business out there. Believe it or not, you need to manage, marketing, sales, human resources, the food. It's a lot of work, and the type of margins that they have are razor thin. I mean, if they make a 5% margin on the business, they feel lucky. There are stats out there that out of every I think 1 out of every 20 restaurants is only alive after 4 years, after 5 years of their inception. 1 out of 20, that's a 5% only that make it.
Wow. And then 5% margins. And that's, you're
Yeah, yeah, they
saying,
are. Yeah,
good.
yeah, they're very, very, very small margins indeed.
Wow. So, what is next for Love It for you? Where do you see this going over the next couple of
Uh,
years? I know that's always probably a hard question
yeah,
to
no, I
answer.
mean, we definitely want to be a force for good in the hospitality industry. We are starting to be recognized as such, and we're very, very happy and proud of that. In the sense that we really want to stand by the food business owners, especially independently owned mom and pop shops, etc. And in order to do that, there are a host of things that you can do because they are really undergoing the type of digital transformation revolution that retail lived like 10 years ago. And they are compressing all that revolution that happened in 10 years in only a couple of years. And probably the pandemic was an accelerator. So there are plenty of things that they have been asking us to do and that we have taken good notice and are in the process of implementing. Very soon in the month of July, actually in 3 weeks or so, we're going to be releasing a version of the product that aside from excess food or any type of special or promotions that the merchants want to post on the platform, they will be able to also sell from their regular menu at regular price, paying a very, very small fee, right? We are opening the number of fulfillment options. As of now, it's only pickup. We are considering adding delivery probably after the summer, but right now in July, we're going to be offering dining where people can pay for prepay and pre-tip a diner in the app and then go to the restaurant and dining, a curbside pickup and the likes. And they will be able also to schedule a pickup and things like this. And as I said, after the summer, we will probably release delivery, which is something that everybody has been asking for. We got used during the pandemic to ask for our goods delivery and do it in a cost-effective way. It's not that simple. That's kind of like the things we are working on. We have some other plans further ahead in terms of helping them sell from their own online sites without any fee, so that they can leverage their customers to the fullest potential they have. And some of the ideas that we are brainstorming day in and day out with them and with the consumers about ways we can move the needle in the positive direction.
And is it possible you'd be moving into other cities?
I think so. I think once we actually already have a great deal of interest of coming from Palm Beach and Tampa. So I think probably in the first semester of next year, we will be expanding to other cities in Southern Florida, and then we'll see from there. But we aim to be I would say a global player. The sky is the limit in this situation. first tackle Miami, then Florida, then the States, and then the rest of the world.
Hey, right? You've already proven that you've done it, right? Another business moving global.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We both have a very, very international background, so why not?
You mentioned earlier that it's going to take multiple players to get involved to cut down on the food waste problem that we have in the United States. For anyone who is listening and saying, "Wow," and really kind of taken aback by those numbers, are there other ways that you found in just your research and that people can get involved in kind of helping to cut down on the food waste problem?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Um, if you look at the waste and where it's produced, the bulk of the waste, if you look through the value chain of food production and consumption, food production, distribution, and consumption, the bulk of the waste happens in the restaurant and household business. So in retail and in the household. So right now we are focused on fixing the problem or trying to contribute to the resolution of the problem in the retail space, and with restaurants, cake shops, and so on. But there is also a big chunk of the problem that happens at the household level, and that's more about education. There are also some business opportunities that could be, could be arising from trying to fix the problem in that domain, and we are checking some of those. But if we are able to do, our own in our own houses, what's the right thing to do, not to waste so much, try to be more conscious when you buy or when you are cooking, so that the typical strawberries that very soon go over, you can use them before they get bad, and these type of things. That would be a huge contributor to reducing the food waste. Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but I would tell you that the bulk of the problem around food waste is in the retail and household levels.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add that I didn't ask you?
Not really. I'm really thankful for the opportunity to share our background and story with you, Tamika. I really like your podcast and like what you are doing. I'll be following you up more often now.
I appreciate that. And tell everyone where they can find you, learn more, download the app, all of that. I'll make sure to include those links below as well in the show notes.
Absolutely. It's as of today, it's available in App Store and Google Play, and they can always find what we are up to in our website at www.lovevett.com with 2 V's and 2 T's. Because the spelling is tricky actually, and the reason for that was that when we were looking for the domain, the internet domain, all that we wanted were already taken. So it's LOVVETT.com, and if anybody's interested, they can always shoot me a message on Rafael@lovevett.com. Rafael with an F.
Wonderful. And then you're on Instagram, Facebook, all the other social media as well?
Absolutely. They can always find us there.
Okay, perfect. And then, you know what? I had one other question, because I'm glad you brought that up about the 2 V's and the 2 T's. How did you come up with the name LOVVETT? Is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It was, as I said at the beginning, we wanted to do something meaningful with a purpose, and I think it born out of love for the environment, love for the food, love for trying to leave a better planet for our children. So love needed to be in the name. So we said, hey, love it. It's something that when people use it, should love it. And then, of course, love it was taken. So we ended up writing something that sounded like lover and sounds like love it, but it's spelled differently. That's the reason behind it.
Well, we can certainly say that we love it and love what you're doing. So Thank you so much for sharing your story, and congratulations on all that you've accomplished and for helping to make our planet a better place.
Thank you so much, Tanika. A pleasure.
I really love speaking with purpose-driven businesses, right? This is that greater why behind why we do what we do. And the LOVVETT app has a great story. I had no idea before this conversation that 30 to 40% of all food in the US is wasted, and that could feed the 10% of people that are food insecure in the United States. It's a problem that we can all start, chopping away on our own in our own homes. But also, hey, when you go for a food delivery app and at least you are in South Florida or in the greater Miami area, go ahead and check out some of that food for 50% off and start carving away at the problem of food waste. Go ahead, find LOVVETT's information all below in the show notes. Connect with them, learn more about the app, download, connect with them on social media. And hey, connect with me if you aren't already. I don't know why not. Hit subscribe on YouTube, turn on notifications, connect with me on LinkedIn. And until next week, because I know I'll see you back then, stay happy, stay healthy.